Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Joe Daddy's Garage. This is a different experience. This is something I'm trying. I've done something in the past where did a live stream where I was block sanding on the fender for the 68 Mustang known as Jade. So this is going to be a bit different today because I want to be working on the back part of Jade, and it's going to be hard for me to keep up with comments and that sort of thing. So you may have to just kind of roll with it. You know what I mean? Currently, it's harder for me to see because I have the camera. I'll show you. Look, I have the camera on a tripod, and I have my welding table set up with the laptop sitting on it, and of course, I'm in the paint booth area, so a little different. So it's hard for me to even see what's going on the laptop, but I do see I have Greg's Workshop checking in, Leonard Gilbreth, Phil is checking in from sunny Northern California, Bob Knoll from Detroit, Jerry from Middle Tennessee, Big Red 67. Had to work on his 240Z this week. That's all good. It's all good. I'm glad you're outside working on something. But let me see if I may already be getting smudges all over me. The idea, though, is to show, real time what it takes to do this kind of thing. So I've already worked on the other side of the car. I've worked on the roof and the roof panels or the sail panels and the deck lid. I did find some flaws. Not surprising. This is why you do this stuff. This is why you take the time. When you think you're done, are you really done? So let me just show you real quick. And I can only go so far with the camera, but you see that spot right there? Now, believe it or not, and I filmed all this, but believe it or not, that spot on the deck filler panel was actually what I would call an Audi. Whoops, let me get this angle right. It would be what I would call an Audi. And what I mean by that is if you have a dent that is from the outside of the car, it's just a regular dent, but from the inside, I just call that an Audi because it's coming out. And so I was surprised when I got to that part of the block sanding. I found a high spot, and it had to get there somehow, but I could find no evidence of something hitting it from underneath or whatever. So it's kind of odd. Normally, you would find something like that in a quarter panel where somebody has had some material, whatever they may have had in the back, taken a turn or hit a bump, and it slides over and it hits the quarter panel and creates an out dent or an Audi. So I had to use a hammer and dolly that down a bit, and then I went back over it with filler. I see I got a little bit of a lag going on. I hope it's not going to be an issue. But anyway, I had to do that on the deck filler panel. And then the quarter panel on that side, of course, it's a brand new quarter, and I did have to do some repair work on that previously. Out of the box, it had a dent. So in block sanding it, I didn't find any issues, thankfully, because I had already done most of the prep work. And then the door, I was surprised as well. I found 3 little dings in the door that I never thought were there. But using the, I don't know how this sounds. I guess it sounds okay. I can't tell. Let me know if it sounds okay because I'm out here in the paint booth, which has a lot of echo. But on the door, there were 3 dings that were revealed by the guide code. And so I had to use a small amount of spot filler and fill those up. Let me see who's here. We have Crash Rider and says, hello, Dusty. Dave, I don't have my bell back here. Ding, ding. I guess I'll just make ding sounds because I don't have the bell. So Dave's here. Dave Conville. King Custom. Andrew Lee is saying hello. Glad you're here. Nick Moss. I have the same spot I believe in from the trunk in Wheelhouse supports in my case. Okay. Mason Fox, Don Thompson, Chuck Fleming. Awesome. Okay. Yeah, I couldn't tell. Again, I've not tried this before. And this is something that was suggested that I do because, it takes normal filming and editing and all that stuff takes a lot of time. And really, I could be filming this section, which I have started filming. I filmed the work on the roof, the work on the deck lid, and on the other side. And it's going to be really boring, honestly, because it's a lot of time of just, block sanding. Of course, I'll time lapse all that and try to speed things up. I can't time lapse here. Not going to happen. That's something else I wanted to point out. I mentioned it before, and I know I'm limited by the camera and what I can do with it. But these areas on the roof of the car, this is, of course, where the trim goes. And this car had a vinyl top. So the vinyl, they don't really care. They wrap that vinyl, they use the nails, drill together, and as long as it was stuck on, they didn't care. So they didn't worry about these radiuses, these corners. That's a concern. That's a real concern because, if you look at the shape of this, which is your trim piece, and you've got a nice curve to it, and if you put it up in the corner, then when you have lumps going around it, it's going to pop out. It's going to stand up like crazy. So again, I'm going to just try to use whatever mobility I have here and try to show you this. Okay, so there's what I've done. I've added material, just filler, and then if you take this piece and you fit it in there, and the only thing you see on top is a shadow. That's just a shadow in that corner. But, little details like this make all the difference. And you don't think about it. You really don't. You're like, well, hey, it'll be okay. Will it? That's the question. Is it right, or is it going to survive or do what you want it to do? Those are the type of things. Okay, so a little breaking up. I don't know if it's good or bad right now. So Kuderlev checking in. Dawn saying bandwidth problems, audio and video. Okay, so I hope this is all I can do. I don't have much choice with what's going on. I don't know what else to do. I mean, I could. I'm limited by the choices. Okay, so Gary says better. Okay, so I don't know if you got that little clip I did on the window or not, if that came out okay. But anyway, what I was saying was, and hopefully it's not just moving the camera around. I don't think it should be. But I'll show it again just in case. So anyway, detailed work. Make sure that stuff fits. Just make sure it fits. All right, we'll try this again. Oh man, this is tough, technology limited. All right, better now. Good tip on the rear glass. Can I do the same with the front glass if the glass is not in place? You can, yeah. Okay, cool. All right. Now, I'm going to reset the camera, and I'm going to work on this quarter panel and show you some of the work it takes to do this sort of thing. So let me just move the camera down here and try to get a good angle for you. Okay. So we know this quarter panel has been replaced, and there was work done up here, obviously, which is normal. But I've sprayed on. I think this was about 2 coats of high build. Now, the instructions will tell you spray on like 2 to 4 coats. I sprayed on extra material on the roof because I knew it had issues. On the quarters, I didn't go. I'm going to say it was like 1.5. It wasn't really a heavy load of 2. Now, what you'll find is, like here, if I run my hand across that, you can tell me if you hear that or not. That's smooth. That is super smooth. But you come over to the quarter, and that's what you run into, is the buildup, from the spray and it kind of flaking or flecking onto the panel. But once you sand it out, it's just really smooth. Okay, let me see where we're at. I just want to see if. Okay, so when I check the camera around, it seems to break up. I'm hoping that it's stable. I'm going to let the camera sit right where it's at, and we'll see how this goes. Okay. What I'm using is again, I mentioned it before, the Merca guide coat. Okay. And that's like, it's almost like powder, ink powder, you know. Of course, I'll be using my Durablocks, this flat one and the round one. And these are, like, I don't know, 11 inches long, whatever it is. And of course, I've been using this 3M paper, 320. That's usually what I use. And also this taco pad, they call it, which is a hook it type pad. And then the Merca 400 paper. And that's that, you can see right through it. So it kind of vents out. Now, the thing is, when you do this, you need to, wear a dust mask at minimum. What I do is I wear my respirator, and I've talked about this before. These are old filters. And the only reason I'm using these as old filters, I'm not worried about chemical problems. I'm just worried about dust. And this will stop any dust that's in the air. So that's what I do. I put on this old mask. Okay. All right. So Leonard says it's doing good. Nick, Barry, can you show me the end of the rocker to quarter when you get a second? I want to see something for mine. I had to repair that area on both sides, and it looks like it might now have the shape right. So quarter to rocker. I'll try before I get too far. I don't know if I can. I don't know if my camera will reach that far. Let me see if I can show you that. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, it's kind of tough to get that in there, but sorry. You see where we're at. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to put the mask on and put the Merca on the quarter panel. So bear with me. Let's see, I've got Nick. Yeah, I need to find a little voice is breaking up again. All right, well, I'm just going to have to go with it, see what happens. Okay, let me show you some things. All right, I don't know if it's working or not. I'm getting mixed reviews here. Chris, that the black stuff is meant to be sanded off. That's the whole point. So, if I can show you this. There you can see dark areas. Dark, dark. This is all from scratches of probably the 100 grit that I'd used when I did body work back here. A little bit dark here in this section. But otherwise looks pretty smooth. Now the point of that is these are your low spots. What should I do? Should I stop? No. I'm going to keep sanding because I want to eliminate all of these dark areas. So that's the whole point of using the guide coat. And what I did, if you didn't notice, I turned the volume down on a microphone to try to avoid the air blowing at you. I don't know if that worked or not. You can let me know. Okay, back to it. Now I'm going to point out, I'm not digging in, right? Ben, thank you, man. Chris, thank you for that. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Awesome. Thank you, guys. So I'm not digging in with this or with the other pad either. I'm letting the sandpaper do the work and letting the block do the work and not trying to dig stuff out of there. Now, I can see up here, this is an issue, and I'll show you more of that in just a second. But I want to work down the radius here and then any of these corners up front. So, the transition here, it's odd because you have kind of a body line you can see, and then it goes dips in. So it's really hard to use a big block on that. I may try to get by with the little taco block and see what happens. Now, when you get to these, let's say corner, and you got a hard body line, try to be careful. Don't go on the angle. Like if you're standing, don't press really hard on that angle. Gently get around that. I try to work the surfaces. So I have this surface and this surface, and I'm trying to work them independent of that line, just so I don't break through. Gonna mute for a second. Okay. All right, show you a few things now. Okay. I hope I don't go glitchy on you, but these areas that I talked about up here, those are still low. Why do I know that? Well, because I'm hitting high right now. So this is going to have to take a very skim coat of filler. Sorry for the camera shake. Just a skim coat of filler, or there may be enough there that I could lay a heavy coat or 2 coats of high build and make that go away. So just that's the kind of things you need to look for. What's going on in those locations? Down here, see if I can get the camera on here. You'll see there's a shadow of the guide coat following the radius. That is part of the stamping, because here I'm breaking through on the high build, which is fine. You just don't want to go past the epoxy, right? So as I'm doing this, I want to be careful. I'm just going to have to use the sanding block and gently get it in that turn. And it's just a tooling thing. It's not like it's going to show up bad. Like you don't have to add filler to that. It's not that critical. So I'll sand through or sand this out to get rid of that shadow. And this takes just a few different angles to get in there. But you can see it going away. Still a little texture up here on the top of this radius. Again, I've got my thumb on here. That's it. I'm not pressing on it like I'm trying to squeeze juice out of a lemon or something, And you can see here, maybe, I can angle that. See there, those are high spots. But the texture is going away and I'm not breaking through, so I'm not going to panic on that. There you can see them just coming through the high build right there. And like down here in this radius, I've already, most people may or may not, I don't know, some people do it, some don't. All of these spot welds down here, I backfilled those. I blended them down and then I used filler. So this curve or this flange area of the wheelhouse is smooth and it's on a little piece of metal. Yep. So I'm not too concerned with how that's going to be. I already know that's going to have a smooth finish, but hear the birds. I think that's a robin. Actually, I have my wife in the background with a sound button hitting the bird sounds. But you can hear that now. And you can hear the bird. So, same way here. Now you might be able to see, whoops, sorry. You might be able to see, maybe, I don't know if you can see that or not. There's still some texture showing right there and a little spot up here. Again, that will probably go away with the next heavy coat of high build. So you can sand it out, but it may not be necessary. Let's see. Denny's saying, Barry, I've used cheap Walmart black rattle can paint for guide coat after each course of primer, and also write the grit. Also write the grit to keep track. Oh, yeah, it's a good choice. Writing that down. Hey, Caden. Let's see. Marshall, so it's safe to add a skim coat of filler over high build primer? Yes. Yes. Nick, is that rubbing on your shoulder? I don't know where he's at, but he's got to be close. He's got to be close. Let me put my mask back on. Don't be dumb. Now, again, what I'm doing down here, there's, again, the tooling has created just a subtle transition down here. So I'm kind of using the edge of the taco pad just to get rid of the texture. So all that's looking really good. I'll go further down later on just to make sure I get all that. There's a line right there. I think that's probably a paint line, like a run. Yeah, there it goes. Coming right out. Okay. All right, so we've gotten this area taken care of. Got rid of the texture. There's a small amount right there and right there. You can probably see this is where I've added filler. This is to shape the transition into the extension. And so there's heavy scratches in this, but those heavy scratches are going to go away with the next round of high build. So, you can, like I said, the instructions tell you to put on, I think 4 coats of high build. And I think Leonard's asking a question about that. The instructions say put on 4 coats of high build and then sand it all out, right? Well, you can do that. Oh, look, I got makeup on now. That's the fun part. Yeah, it's live, right? It's live. I'm making a mess right in front of you. That looks fantastic. Anyway, but the instructions usually tell you to put on 4 coats of high build, right, and then sand it down. And you can do that. That's fine. I mean, 4 coats, that's plenty. And you may be able to get by with just doing that and sanding it and finding the bad spots. Typically, what we did at the body shop was we'd put on 2 heavy coats, sand it, find any flaws, come back with some filler if we needed to, and then put on at least 1 more coat of high build. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to have areas that I've done repair work to, like on the filler panel, on the other door, this section up here where I mentioned about maybe adding some filler to it. So those areas, they're going to need more high build. And the reason for that not only is to recover it, let's say, but also it's almost like a sealer, let's say. You put on a color that's all the same. You don't want shadows. You don't want something that's going to stand out whenever you put on your colors, because you may have a lighter color and then it gets affected by that kind of shadow look to it. So Buck's Woodshop makeup stream. Yeah. Crash, when you say filler, are you referring to regular body filler for the low spots or metal glaze? Yeah, just regular body filler. I used dolphin glaze on occasion, just for very light stuff. I use dolphin glaze. Otherwise, I'll use my Rage, And again, this is something that oh, hey, Troy, thank you for that. I didn't see that. Thank you, Troy. I'll give you a ding, ding. I don't have the bell with me. But I've talked about it before. Other times I've used filler to where, and this is just something I do, and I've never had an issue with it. I've had people say that won't work. It's bad. I don't know. Because I learned from an old body man was I've added lacquer thinner into my filler to thin it down so that I can spread it evenly over those kind of low areas. Never had a problem with it. I've heard from old timers that said it works, but I've also had people say don't do that because you're adding a chemical to the mix. But they also sell a product called what is it? It's Bondo Honey. I think Evercoat makes it, and you mix it in, and it thins down your filler. So you can do stuff like that too. For me, like I said, I'll use the dolphin glaze and hit these spots and go from there. Now, I still have a little bit to do up front, and I want to show you something else that I did. And this is just because, little detail stuff that, sorry. It's live, right? It's live. Okay. Little detail stuff. Now, I'll continue to work this section right here, and I'll use that little taco pad, knock that down. This has already been sanded because I did filler work here to smooth the transitions. What I found, and this was just a recent find, the rocker panel. You assume, remember, don't assume, but you assume that rocker panel is straight, that there's no flaws or issues with it. Well, I had filled the holes, and I didn't weld them shut because this had trim on it. And I thought, well, if I ever want to go back to trim, but you know what, I can't find those holes anyway. So the point is I filled those holes with some filler, and I didn't want to weld on them because I'd already lined the inside of this with the chassis saver. So I put filler in, block sanded those down, and I thought, this should be easy enough. This is form piece, there's nothing to it. But what I found is this thing is not straight. Now, whether it would have been, it had trim on it, so maybe there was some other issues. But when I block sanded it out, I found I was breaking through in a lot of places. And in fact, there's a breakthrough right there. So what I did is I mixed up some filler and I did a skim coat over the whole rocker. And that's what you see right there. So I skim coated the whole rocker, and I went over it again this morning before I started on this quarter, and that's what happened. I actually broke through down here at the bottom. It was hard to see. But point being, even things like that matter. To me they do. Whenever you're trying to do a finished project, and get it ready for paint, I want every panel to look like it was perfect as much as I can. I understand there's some things you just can't deal with or maybe can't take care of. But doing this process, high build, guide coat, high build, and then another round of final block, you end up with a super, super nice paint job. I still, of course, have to do, the door here, and the quarter panel. I have not sanded it yet, so that'll be on the agenda. Let me get this camera set. Hey, Rick, thank you, man. Appreciate that. Every little bit helps. Thank you very much. Denny, Dynatron putty coat is super fine body filler and works great for this. So there's another product that you could use. I've not used Dynatron, but I'll take your word for it. Yeah. So I'm happy about it. It's taken, this sort of stuff is tedious. Honestly, I'd rather be doing sheet metal, welding together panels, fixing rust, all that sort of thing. I love to do that, probably more than anything else. But I also know that no matter what I do for metal work, in this case, the end result is what's it going to look like with paint on it? Well, time. You have to take the time and make these things happen and make it look right. So Nick's saying he uses Rage all the time too, or his Rage. We're not making dents, Nick. We're not making dents. So anyway, I can keep on sanding on it. If you want me to, I can keep on going. I know you're here, and I'm sure you're just so excited to see the sanding stuff going on, right? So let me knock down this front section. Okay. So that's what it's like. That's what it's like. More junk on my face? Probably. All right. Let me see what else we have going on. Let's see. Leonard, yes, but you still have to finish it out. Yeah, but you still have to finish that, yes. Chris, Barry, body work is like golf. It sucks so bad. It is better to watch them participate. Carry on. Yeah, good point. Nick, I've actually learned a lot about the approach to finishing that quarter, which is what I'm doing. I'm all in, man. Cool. Glad you're here. Rick, end result will make it all worth it. Yes. Chris, yeah, this is good stuff. It's a hobby for me, so I end up learning as I go. Already learning some tips for next go around. Good. 64.5. At this point, with the epoxy and high build on, you should not see bare metal after sanding, correct? No, you should not. You should not. However, if you do, and I have broken through on the course on the door when I was doing more finish work on it. There's a couple things you can do to address that. So let me turn that. What I normally do, ideally you want epoxy on there, right? You want to have epoxy covering the bare metal. All right, we'll see you, Nick. Appreciate it. So you want to have epoxy covering, or going on the metal. I've talked about this before. Like some people will try to use, coat the car in self-etch and then come back with epoxy, and it doesn't work that way. But if you have epoxy on the car and then you break through, your choices are you mix up some more epoxy and spray those little small areas, or what I do, and we've done this before, and it was never an issue, is take a little self-etch. Just shoot those little bare spots, let it dry, and then come back over top with your high build. No problem. Never had an issue with it. So, Chris, after this is done, assuming final primer sealer coat regarding bare spots. Yes. Yeah, assuming it will get a final high build coat. Now, what I might do on that, depending on how things finish out for the rest of the car, I don't know if I'm going to go back with 2 coats or if I'm going to thin it down. And I'm thinking I may thin it down and use it more like a sealer, kind of finish so that it'll lay flatter. And even though I'm going to go over it again, I will sand this car one more time before I put on paint. I'm just not going to let it go. So, Don, Rick Gain, did you see the comment? Okay. So Leonard, when you repaired the right front fender, how much warpage did you have? When I repaired the right front fender. Oh, I had a little, nothing dramatic, because I did slow welds on that fender, and it really didn't do much. And again, it was because of the way I shaped that patch too. I'd cut it at a curve to try to help take out some of those stresses, and it seemed to work pretty good. Trying to see what else. So anyway, let me know what you think about these kind of videos. Now I know this is not the most exciting thing to do, but it gives you some details and it gives you a timeline as to how long stuff takes. I know that I can do a time lapse on this thing and be done in an hour. But the reality is, I think I showed it on the car on the hood when I did it earlier. It took like 30 to 45 minutes to do the half of the hood, just one half. So you multiply that. You figure that's a flat surface. Then you start looking at the curve of the deck lid. You look at the curve of the roof. You look at the curve of the quarters. I think it was Billy Warner had pointed out, this car is more rounded, I think, in effect, than a 65 or 6. And you have hard lines all over the place, but there's curves everywhere. You look at the shape of the door, how it transitions, it comes down and then out, back in, back out, back down, and then of course the scoop thing, on the side. All those things make it much more complicated, in effect. So, Rick, people just complain about why a quality paint job is expensive. Need to watch videos like this. True. I mean, that's just it. It's hours and hours and hours of tedious, uh, tedious things that you just never see. And this is why I point out too. I've had people. You go to a car show or something, and people always say, "Oh, who did the paint work?" Well, most painters aren't body guys, honestly. Like if you go to a collision shop or, even more restoration type things, the restoration shop right up the road from me that does Mustangs and all kinds of stuff, they have a contract painter that comes in, and that's all he does. He just sprays paint. He's not doing body work. And so to me, most of it is, somebody says, who did the paint work? No, it's who did the body work. Because that, again, that shows you how well it was done when you look at the paint job and you go, boy, this thing's slick. Well, all the work underneath is what made that paint job what it is. Let's see what else we have. Gary A. Love these videos. Good. Leonard, the reason I'm asking is I've got Russ to take out, and that video looks like a good idea. Okay, good. Troy, where do you get your 2-inch sanding disc? I'm having a hard time finding them. Believe it or not, Troy, all of those 2-inch sanding discs that I have are scrap. They were all scrap. When I worked for Delta and I did the shop that I was in, went through those discs like candy. So they would, and what the task was in grinding off brays off of engine segment pieces. So it would cut so much of the brays and then it would quit. And then they would toss them by the hundreds. So over the years, I've accumulated those 2-inch sanding discs. I mean, I'd take home bags of them, and all the ones I've ever used are used. So you'll see me using them. They're already used when I've got them. And I have, I think Robert, when Robert was here, I gave him a bunch. I probably have, I don't know, maybe 5,000 sanding discs, rough guess. 4,000 to 5,000 sanding discs that I've salvaged. Dave, today's instructional type video was great. Good. Appreciate that. And Poita, like the format, hit real issues in real time. Yes. Well, and that's the thing. The challenge, of course, is getting the camera gear set up and different things. And there may be other things that I could use in this process. I don't know. I'm just kind of winging it with what I have set up. I don't know if when it comes to finally getting to paint, I don't know how I'm going to do that. I've thought of different ideas to film it, but I don't want stuff in here getting covered in paint. I don't want to bring contaminants in with me, so that may be a challenge. I have seen people put like a GoPro on their paint gun, it's entertaining, but I may try a few different things. Oh, and let me point this out too. This paint booth that I built, on the sides here, you can see there's LED lights. Let me do this. So you can see those are long 4-foot LED lights. And up above, these are your standard issue T12 fluorescents. I have new LEDs coming. What I'm going to do is I'm going to convert these fluorescent bulbs just like I did in the front shop. I'm going to take these out and I'm going to put in LEDs. So hopefully I have really good lighting in here when it comes time. They should be here next week. And once I take care of that, I'll show it. I don't know if I'll do it on this channel or maybe on my other channel. I'm not sure yet, but I'll show that, installation and conversion and stuff. So, but that's an upgrade that I'm going to do on the paint booth. Jim, the prep job is your paint job. 95% prepping and 5% painting. Yep. Ding, ding. I don't have my bell with me. Leonard, Troy, TP Tools sells, and they're the cheapest I found for How many you get in a box? Oh, talking about the talking to Troy about the 2-inch sanding disc. Okay. Poida, could you cover the cameras in tight cling wrap? I guess I probably could. I'm going to try that. And Troy, I changed my lights in my garage LEDs, and I love them. Yeah, I did the front section in LEDs, and I had existing fixtures in the ceiling. So I think I have 3 runs on each side. And this kit that I just ordered, I ordered 12 new bulbs. So I'll need 8 back here for this, and that'll leave me 4. And I can add 2 more lights to the main shop up front. So that'll be great. Anyway, I don't know what else to show you because I think it's worked out pretty good. I see Winged Warrior showing up. That's like the second or third Dave today. So we're at an hour, 59 viewing. That's great. I may try to do more of these, and maybe that's what I focus on Thursdays. I try to get involved and answer questions and that sort of thing. But if this format is better, and I can come up with good ideas that I can use, then maybe that's what I'll do. Start doing a live stream on Thursdays. I've thought about too the idea of I don't know if this would work or not. I've heard that Bad Chad. I haven't looked at his channel, but I heard he's doing like live streaming his actual process as he goes, and I don't know if I can do that or not. Like, have the camera on and just let it run, like for all day. I don't know. I don't know if that would be a good thing or not. I have thought about doing that with the little the Honda Accord that I'm going to rebuild the front end on. Maybe I just live stream that, not even bother doing editing. Maybe it makes more sense to show the step-by-step process and just let it run. I don't know. You tell me. You tell me if you think that's a good idea or not. All right. So, Chris, that would be awesome to do each Thursday. Love it. Cool. I had to have the side lights lower to get good reflection when painting the sides of Betsy. Yeah. Well, I wasn't sure whenever I put these in. I just kind of guessed on it, and they seem to work for me. Wayne Warrior says the Truman Show. Yeah, yeah, it could be that. Just let it run, let it run. And the thing is, though, how do you manage that? Like, say I need to go do something else. Do I just let the camera sit here and run? Walk away because I can't. The live stream is live. Now you're talking a period of time that it's just going to keep on running. So anyway, just considerations that I'm coming up with. But I think this format works pretty good, and I think the challenge is going to be coming up with subject matter. I will point out that I was working on, because of the weekend, I got off schedule. We took that car to Texas. So, Saturday, we left early Saturday morning, came back late Sunday night. And then I was worn out, honestly. Monday came around and I was just sluggish. Tuesday came and I was just still kind of recovering, let's say, in a sense. And then I was trying to put together a video for Friday. I've been trying to put out at least one video on Fridays for everybody. And I'm not going to be able to get that video done because a lot of it is this right here. Is working on this car right now. So what I have is I'm going to put out a video on the Stray Pony. I talked about the 65 Mustang before, the Stray Pony. That's the car that I sold, and that car is now in Texas. So I did a video on that car, getting it out of the garage, loading it on the trailer. There are some extra footage at the end of the trip itself, just driving, seeing stuff along the interstate and stuff like that, just little extra stuff. But I'm almost done with that video. So that'll be my Friday video, just how it is. because, life. Dawn, I'm going to try LED, currently using the corrected fluorescent. Yeah. Rick, you could do a day in the life video. You cut out parts. You would cut parts out, but not a lot of editing. Yeah, I mean, possibly. All right. 64, see you guys Monday. Shane's out of here. All right, Shane. Nice having you here. I'm going to call it a day. And just to let you know, it was on this day 32 years ago that I met my wife, thanks to my sister setting us up on a blind date. So that was our kind of a sort of anniversary, first date anniversary is today. But not that means much. We're not going to go and do anything. Just one of those observations. Okay. So that'll be it. I'm going to sign off. And we'll see again. I'll try to do something next Thursday, but also Monday. Regular stuff Monday. And who knows? Maybe I'll be doing more of these during the week. Just if I decide it's noon, it's time to do a live stream. Boom! I'll just put it on and see what happens. We'll see how it goes. But thanks for being here. Thanks for watching, and until next time. Take care of yourselves. See ya.